There is a massively growing empire, a business tool that you can see almost every day that is taking over shops, transports, and trading in a big way. To the point, if you live in France, the UK, America, Spain, Sweden, there is almost a 100% chance that you have benefited from its older brother, with almost the entire clothing brand like Nike, Adidas, and even other companies like Amazon, Samsung being almost dependent on them to survive. And the names of these two are QR code and barcode. Depending on where you live is depending on how much you see these two, but they effectively control large-scale business. But we're only gonna focus on one, the QR code, and ask a few important questions like who created them, why were they created, and how do they work. In 1948, in the US, two men named Norman J. Woodland and Bernard Silver invented the barcode, but this one looked nothing like the one you're more familiar with. It was in the shape of a bullseye. They aimed to tackle the problem that the supermarket industry had, which was they needed a better method of inventory management and customer checkout. The original barcode had a big problem. Although you could read it from any angle, the printers would smudge the ink, rendering the code unreadable regardless of annotation. While this was a problem going on, George, with the help of Woodland, went to work on developing a user-friendly digital readable code that could be more easily scanned. After many tries, the black and white rectangle with a series of short parallel lines was born. The problem of the ink smudging and making it hard to read was fixed, since the code could be printed in the direction of the stripes, so any bleeding of the ink would simply make the code taller. Now you may ask, how does this link to QR codes? To answer that, we have to go back to Japan. A little bit before 1994, there was a company named Denso Wave, an automotive company that was dealing with a big problem. The barcodes they were using could not handle or store large data. See, this is how barcodes work. The black lines on the barcode absorb light, and the white parts of the barcode will shine through and be reflected. The scanner detects the amount of light that will be converted into computer readable data. For example, the black parts that do not reflect are recorded as 1, and the white parts recognized by the light scanner as 0. Inventory management software will receive and decode this information on the system. Now for the numbers below. Most barcodes will have 12 digits, usually printed underneath as a precaution for possible complications. The numbers below mean something. And back to the space problem. Barcodes have a storage capacity of less than 100 characters. QR codes have a storage capacity of more than 2,500 characters. And not to forget the fact barcodes are not scannable if they get damaged. QR codes have a correction margin of 7 to 30%. This means QR codes work even if they get damaged by 30%. And that's not the only thing. Barcodes can be scanned only horizontally, whereas QR codes can be scanned in any direction or orientation. That just lists a little more on how QR codes are better. QR codes can be up to 10 times smaller than barcodes and still carry more information. Don't forget, you can scan a QR code with your phone. You can't do the same for a barcode. The storage problem for Denso Wave was so bad for them that they had to put up to 10 barcodes on a single product. And remember, they were not the only companies using standard UPC code systems, which many companies used. Also, this was more than just a Denso problem. Additionally, because barcodes need to be scanned from one direction, they ran into production backups when their scanners couldn't read the barcode on the variety of shapes and sizes, the automotive parts. The company struggled meeting deadlines simply because barcodes slowed production. With all of these problems, Denso Wave employee named Mashori Hara conjured up the idea of the QR code. This was while playing the game Go. This just shows you inspiration can come from anywhere. But yeah, let's get back to the track. Go skull consists of a 19 by 19 grid with black and white stones placed throughout. You can really see the similarity between the two. Hara realized grid system could hold much more information in single code and could also be read from multiple directions, angles and distance, thus speeding up production time. And after this, some time passed with the Denzel Wave team. He and his team made the QR code, which means quick response code. Like I said earlier, Denzel Wave was not the only company that used the standard UPC code and weren't the only ones struggling with it. So after making the QR code a strategic move, Denzel Wave made the QR code technology freely available to the public but sold the scanner technology to read them. Now imagine if they did the opposite and strongly hit the formula to making a QR code. See, everything changed when cell phones included scanners, because a camera is the perfect technology for reading QR codes. In 2002, Sharp introduced the first cell phone with QR scanners, and competing cell phone companies followed suit, and over time everyone who owned a smartphone also had a QR scanner in their pockets. So what makes QR codes so good? How do they work? This fast print QR code, the highlighted areas show various parts of the QR code that cannot be changed. The three squares in the corners of the QR code that have been highlighted will be present on every QR code you come across. These are essentially position markers, and their job is to tell the scanner where the edge of the QR code are. The two highlighted stripes show alternating black and white dots, much like zebra crossings. The first job of these stripes is to tell the scanner where the columns and rows of black and white dots are placed. They go by the name timing patterns. The other highlighted areas of the QR code tell the scanner what type of information will be encoded, etc., like websites, URL, messages, information, alphanumeric, and so forth. The green areas represent the version numbers of the QR code. These are used on QR codes with version numbers ranging from 6 to 40. If the version of your QR code is under 6, the scanner doesn't need to have a version defined, as it will be able to work it out from the individual areas of your QR code. The next highlighted square is a constant part of every QR code, as it acts as an alignment marker. In some large QR codes you might see a few of these, as the scanner uses more to ensure a more accurate alignment. Each dot represents a 1 and each blank a 0 in binary code, and the patterns encode sets of numbers, letters, or both, including URLs. At its smallest, the grid is 21 rows by 21 columns, and at its largest, it is 177 rows and 177 columns. In most cases, QR codes use black squares on white backgrounds, making the small dots easy to distinguish. However, this is not a strict requirement, and QR codes can use any color or any shape. See, you have to be careful when you're using QR codes. QR codes are not inherently dangerous, they are simply a way to store data. However, just as it can be hazardous to click on links or emails, visiting URLs stored in QR codes can also be risky in several different ways. The QR code URL can take you to phishing websites that tries to trick you into entering your username or password. When making this video and doing all the individual research, I thought to myself, what if they kept the secret or even the barcode image, the amount of money they could have made? But then I realized their goal was mainly to help people out and make a bit of money back. This was a time where businesses chose to help people and not exploit them.